Hi, my name's Vicky. I thought I'd share how I became a Christian 15 years ago. So when I was 14, my best friend at high school invited me along to her church's Christmas party, and we went to church the following day, and they started singing worship songs and praying, and I just got that cold feeling, those shivers, and I then started to cry and didn't understand why, and never really understood it. And I thought that, weird, must have got emotional because of the song. And then the following year, that friend invited me along to her new church, which is Christ Church Bushmead in Bushmead. And I thought, well, might as well go along, might meet a boyfriend, you never know. And we started going to youth group every week, and I started meeting Christians and getting to know the Bible and hearing stories of what Jesus did for us. And it came to a point where I would like to become a Christian. And actually we went to Soul Survivor, and J. John was speaking, and he did an altar call, and in front of 250 people I stood up and said, I want to be a follower of Jesus. And it was just an amazing, incredible evening. And I will never forget that evening. And so many of my friends were there at that time. And it was like I just got enveloped into just this loving embrace of, yeah, you've joined this big family of God. We're so excited. And it was the start of my journey. But it came with some bumps and rides. So my family are Jewish, and that's where my heritage is, and it follows in my mum's line. So my grandma, who we were living with at the time, I told, and she said, you will never be a Christian girl, you will always be a Jewish girl. And fast forward to today, I don't hide the fact that that's my heritage or my background at all. I'm really proud of that, where I come from. That's who I am. That's my part of my DNA. But it still came with a bit of a rocky time, because I wanted to be baptised a couple of years later, and both my mum and my grandma was saying no, because this is not who you are, and I think my grandma was a little bit nervous that I was changing a little bit, but I was still the same person, but I understand now that of her worries maybe a little bit, so while I was at that church every Sunday, me and a lady called Nice would pray for my mum to come to church every Sunday, and we would just pray really short prayers, and a couple of years later, my mum started going to a women's breakfast that she was invited to at the church, and then now she's involved in church heavily. She's part of the children's work team in that church, and she's flying and loves God so much too. And I feel really privileged that I was a part of that journey of bringing her to Christ. But growing up in the church, I sort of wondered why things were happening, or why things happened to me. So I grew up without a dad in my life. And that was a really sore thing, and I didn't realise how sore it was until, I became a Christian, and, like that onion layer, layers being peeled off. But I was really lucky to have some amazing male figures in my life growing up. My uncle being one of them, and then two people called Mark Stanton, who goes to the church too, and there was a gentleman called Lee Penner, who was the youth leader there too. And those were two males within that church who definitely sowed so much into my life, and I'm so grateful for, and part of my life still now. And so it was really tough, but I was really happy that they showed me what that father love would be, that father heart of God as well, and teach me that it was nothing to do with me. And still now I stumble across things and think, oh, but why? But I have to realise that God is our Father, and God will never let us go and never reject us, and will always love us unconditionally. And even though my earthly father didn't feel that, or isn't like that, he's not like that at all. My godly Father will never ever reject me, and never ever let me go. He will always hold me close. And sometimes I have to think that back and say, yeah, that's what he does. But there are so many people in St Hughes as well that have been absolutely incredible for me and to me, and I could probably tell you so much more, but I only have 5 minutes to share it with you. So if there's anything you want to ask, or you want me to share more about it, then I'm happy to share it. I think testimonies are awesome to share with people, but yeah, so ask away.